going to be easy. That's not what I'm trying to paint, but Cloud9, I am certain they are going to fight tooth and nail for this one, and they are extremely capable. And to be honest, you'll never get any caster bias out of me, but for the way today shapes up, how fun was yesterday when we had all those upsets and just wild shenanigans going on? I'd quite like to see a Cloud9 win here.
All I got to say is Group A has got to step up in terms of smashing expectations to pieces, because Group B yesterday was wild. If you missed it, so many games you could go back and watch. And we'll definitely implore you to take a look at SSG versus Parabellum later. That 15-round belter on Oregon was an absolute screamer. But hopefully this one turns into a screamer. Bans are flying through. Want to note very quickly as well that for Cloud9, their victory on this map did come against FaZe. It was the first APAC victory against an international team. The day before did lose out 7-4 though to Liquid on the same map. So a bit hit and miss, but we know it's their favourite map. Bans coming out on the back of it. Hibana, Thatcher, Mira and Valkyrie. Not too unexpected on any front there, I think it's fair to say, Ace.
No, nothing too unusual. Pretty much par for the course there. Cloud9 starting out on defence. They will do so without the Mira and the Valkyrie there. But again, common bans, so you will be familiar at playing without them. Now then, we've got a lineup straight away that suggests we're going to have a top floor roam. We've got the Mozzie and the Mute coming in for Envy Taylor and Nova, and then we've got the Jaeger, Malusit and Legion making up that defensive lineup. Now, for anybody who's maybe a little bit less familiar with Cloud9, you maybe not seen them play too often. We've got a couple of big names in there, going very well at the minute. There's Shio, extremely well so far, very capable player. Envy Taylor can be absolutely devastating on his day as well. And these are players that BDS, and I'm sure they will, they need to give full respect to, because we've already seen what can happen where you give Cloud9 a little bit too much room, and that was FaZe here on Clubhouse, and they punished them for it.
I mean, I think that's partly why you're seeing the Jackal come out here. We spoke about this a bit yesterday. It feels like every team here at SI is employing that operator at some point, maybe just looking to have the joystick effect rub off on them after how well he has been playing at SI so far. Heaven knows, I guess we'll see if that trend continues today when Empire take to the field. But you are right, seeing this sort of roam-based setup coming out of Cloud9, one that was once dubbed the SSG run, but now has taken many forms of its own. This one a little more unconventional. You don't have things like the castle on the field, the vigil isn't present, but instead what you're seeing is quite a bit of denial, or at least info you might call it, with the Legion, with the Malusi, and with that Kaid, looking to slow them down. I'm really keen to see where those Electro Claws go as well, because chances are on a roam like this, you're not going to reinforce the bar hatch, and as I said that, I think they actually have. This is normally left open to those roamers on the top floor, drop through the construction hatch, run across, drop through Moto, and you're back on site in 5 to 7 seconds or so. It's the whole point of this 3-floor roam, so I'm keen to see what adaptation Cloud9 are bringing out here, and how much time they can waste on the roam.
Shaco approaching straight towards Garage there. He looks like he's going to go in for a quick entry. He will draw on ahead of himself, but Harper gets the opener onto Rafal, and that is a great start for this Cloud9 roam, Des, and for the Cloud9 hopes of securing themselves that playoff position. Now then, can they double down and lock it in? No, Shaco manages to go in quickly and find the killing Garage onto Shio, levelling things up. Alems is established on the top floor as well. Out comes the Jackal track, so that is again just going to force those defenders to start moving around, and BDS, they're looking eager to get this roam clear finished.
They absolutely are, yeah, making sure everything on the top floor is done. The Jackal helping, of course, because regardless of the mute, you can still see when footsteps came through on the top floor and can still spot out individuals. And once they get that "you have been spotted" sign pop up on their screen, chances are away you'll beelining it straight back down to site. Don't want to be hanging around for too long. And that roam, after about 90 seconds or so, concludes with one dead on either side. Not too bad, especially given it was the Maverick that was found out early on, because now they have no way of getting these reinforced electrified hatches open, both the Moto one and the kitchen one.
It's a great point, Des. That is not a bad outcome for that roam. You know, the first and foremost objective of that roam is to waste time. You want to drag the attackers down to about a minute left, really. So they've not quite achieved that. They've still had a minute and a half, but you can add on 30 seconds by taking the Maverick. Like you say, now BDS are having to scramble. They're having to come up with an alternative attacking strategy, and also it means that Cloud9, don't forget, Des, can now play in locations that otherwise they couldn't. They can play in Moto, they can play aggressively underneath the kitchen hatch. Now, they have managed to clear out Moto, of course. Only 2 of the hatches can be protected by Kaid claws.
I don't know where the second one is. I was going to say,
not sure.
I
There's
haven't
one
seen
on kitchen, and they've, like you say, they've managed to clear off Bar and stock. There was one on bar and stock earlier, but Breedy, he finds the kill onto Harper to get things underway for BDS, but with only 30 seconds left to go, we could be left with that Shaiko to boxes here, Des.
Shot from Renshiro, and don't worry, that isn't a scope, guys. Everyone keeps on asking, it's just because there's a preview skin on the go or something like that. Breedy goes down, the second one falls as Shaiko falls to the hands of Envy Taylor as they've tried to breach in through what feels like this Ash Rush wall. There is a Malusi Banshee on the front side of it, or was originally. Envy with a second. Out comes the Pokeball, and they're going to absolutely clear them out. Just throw bullets, throw projectiles, throw the kitchen sink at them, and they will absolutely fall down.
Take a bow, Envy Taylor. What a play coming in from boxers. That was beautiful to see. Picked him up before we came into round one. He's definitely a man to watch. He has the ability, and he finds himself some great kills down there at the bottom of the main stairs to really turn that round on its head. It was great thought to just get that impact grenade down there and finish a few off, and what a round there for Cloud9. And it all started with the way they played that roam, and I mean, you can never pick who you get when you're looking at an early kill like that in the first 15 seconds or so. You can never pick who you get. You've just got to go with the luck of the draw there, and they really did look out getting the Maverick, because like I say, what it did was it allowed them to drop back to site. They might not have even known at that point that was who they got. They may have recognised it, they may not, but the fact that they dropped back with a minute and a half left, if the Maverick was on the board, Des, I dare say things go a little bit differently there, but the fact that he wasn't just allowed them that extra grace.
I'm going to be eternally curious, and when the replays are available after SI, which they will be 2 weeks after Ubisoft have said, I want to go back and find out what the hell happened to that second Electro Claw. It is boggling my mind, because the Maverick was the only one with grenades, and you might say, oh, they'd roll a grenade down, for example, into Moto from main stairs and kill it. The Maverick was dead. They had nothing left to clear it out, so I'm completely baffled as to where the second one disappeared. Either way, we're into another round. It's the Kaid and the Bandit being brought along as a pairing. Bandit that occasionally we see BDS turn to on their defensive side, but here, Cloud9 are saying, well, look, if we kill the Maverick off them, we know that we can do a bloody good job. So how about we bring along both? We look to try and kill him early again. I imagine BDS will be a bit more passive this time with Rafal, given he is the only grenade wielder and, of course, the one in possession of the blowtorch that they are going to require to get through these electrified walls.
Immediate attention being paid then towards that East Breach. This is something that we see BDS do extremely well, as they get that open very, very quickly, usually within the first 45 seconds to a minute. Now, Envy Taylor, he's going to be juggling those Bandit batteries for the time being.
Surely not.
Surely not. He's looking for that Nitro. You've always got to be careful with the Maverick, of course, because they are playing so close up to the wall. Envy Taylor does make an attempt, but Rafal, he's alert. He knows that that was a possibility, and he's just going to step himself away from the breach and then go back to his work once that explosive threat has gone. But proving a bit of a job for him.
It's not a piece of art, Rafal, just open the damn thing. I think it's more just being cautious along the way. He doesn't want to get blasted out. I always remember when he played for a short time, it was a case of trying to open the wall up. No, it wasn't actually him, it was a mission, sorry. When he was playing on the Maverick, 4 rounds in a row, he got C4 whilst opening up the bottom side. It was disgusting, and we all felt so bad for him at the time over in the EUL. Either way, wall has been dealt with. Good stuff. It has taken maybe a little bit longer than they would like, but an open wall is better than a closed one.
LM's just holding his angle for the time being on the main stairs, aware of the potential for Roma's playing underneath, looking for the possibility of vertical denial or just to prevent access into line.
They know about this guy.
Cash stairs, but for the time being, he's not picking him up on his Inox scanner. There
oh, now he will.
That's exactly what he needed, so that will provide the ping, and there we go. He can see the man and gets the shots, but will not find the kill. Shiol is on an absolute sliver of health now. 2 bullets at the absolute most will clear him out. It's time to think about getting yourself back to site, but it's going to be difficult to do that safely.
He's just going to keep on holding here and wasting as much time as they can. Seems to be the play against BDS is stall them out in the map if at all possible. Most will struggle, and with the construction wall now being open and the East Breach, the only thing they haven't got is garage control. Rafal not going to be the opening death this time around. He is the opening kill as Harper is taken out quite early on.
Rafal just tries to put the grenade in there, but there is still utility just holding on to it for the time being. The ADS picking up the grenade, but the second one will clear the shield out, so that It removes a little bit of defensive utility, but it's not going to be overly impactful at this point in the round, given the amount of access that BDS have got into sight here. But still 4 versus 5. Nova finds Lems on the stairs. Envy Taylor onto Shaiko. Doubles down with one onto Breed. We call this. Cloud9 fighting for the lives here, but then the script is flipped by BDS as they come in and start absolutely raining kills down onto Cloud9. The diffuser is activated. 1 versus 2. It's all for Shiol to do.
Renshiro getting up red stairs there was absolutely massive. The spray down, Rafal almost losing his life. But Charles, as you say, has got it all to do. He's 1 bullet from death, cannot get hit by either of these members on BDS, whereas they can take a couple. It's going to be a couple of headshots for him or an early pre-fire. It's not going to be the case. Rafal coming in big after this round, after the previous round of being the opening death, My God, just goes to show how much damage one player can do when that flank is unwatched for just a couple of seconds, because Nova killed someone there not 5 seconds prior.
That was the problem. It was just throwing another man into the mix. BDS dealing a serious reversal on the situation there. 4 versus 2 at a point, and as you said, it was just Renshiro taking the heads-up approach, getting himself up those red stairs onto the flank and having a huge impact on the round there. Absolutely slamming Cloud9 off the face of the map on that one, unfortunately. That's going to level things up 1-1 on the scoreboard. And Des, honestly, I think we're going to see a lot more of this through Clubhouse. I think Cloud9 are going to keep this tight. I think they're going to keep themselves in it, and I think we're in for yet another unbelievable game.
You touched on Charles in the pre-game as one of the players that's been performing extraordinarily well, and I was really happy to see over the last couple of days how he's done. In stage 1 of this year, he was the bottom-rated player for the team after being part of the most prolific duo that we'd seen, not arguably just in APAC, but around the world. Him and Envy Taylor were destroying teams, a large part, no doubt, of C9's dominance last year. And then Nova stepped up in stage 1 and started having a really big impact too. And not to say Static and Harper were playing badly, they were doing just fine as well. But more often than not, it was those 3 players over the last 12 to 15 months that we've looked at and said they've been doing a hell of a lot of work. Now, Envy had gone a little bit quiet so far at SI, and it's all been down to Shiol. Here, at the very least, Envy is having a good game. We are looking at Shiol and saying, okay, when does that first kill come in? Because once he gets on his game, he's really hard to stop.
That's it. Envy Taylor just needs somebody to back him up now. We can see on the side of BDS, we've had Rafal, we've had Renshiro both coming out with big rounds, and we know that it's only a matter of time until we see something out of either Shaiko or Lems inside of this game. So right now, that's what we're looking at, Des, on the side of Cloud9, who is going to be that second, that third member that is going to just create this core for them that can start locking down the kills. But overall, so far, so good for Cloud9. You can't always legislate for a bit of a hero player like that from Renshiro, where he's just going to come and absolutely decimate the flank. And they're going to be fairly confident, I think, coming in that there's more rounds for them on the defence here. This time they've headed over to Gym and Bedroom, and they've pretty much given up the east side, Des.
They start with a couple of reinforcements there, but I think when you know there's a Maverick on side, you don't want to hang around too long. The smallest little hole can be opened up and suddenly you're unable to play inside of the room, which defeats the whole point of committing men out there in the first place. The Nova is in the back of this ping as well. He swings, Lems finds the kill onto Nova. Not really one you expect to see taking early gunfights, given he's one of the more supportive players on the team. Normally that would come down to someone like Shiol or Static.
1 minute into the round then, as you say, just falling behind here. Cloud9, Nova taking that early death, and it's not looking great for Cloud9 here because BDS, they're creeping across, Des. The map control is just getting that a little bit greater. Static's in an important position here. He's got the deployable shield to assist him. He's got an angle onto the breach that's been opened up. And he just needs to play this patiently. He doesn't want to overpeak it, doesn't want to give his life away. But the problem is with that CCTV control, we can see Shaiko there just creeping alongside those south windows. And we know that he can be an absolute nightmare from this position. And it is that CCTV control that allows him the freedom to do this. And he's going to take a little challenge. He'll dip away, but this is perfect Shaiko territory.
It is, and you see all these angles slowly being closed down by BDS. It's where Cloud9 have really got to tighten things up because the smallest pixel stepped wrong could be the cost of your life, and ultimately the round, you're already in a 5 versus 4, and with 60 seconds still to play, this is BDS's world. They're always finding themselves in spots where they have more than enough time to think about and execute. Very rarely is it a lasting agenda with them unless they've lost a crucial pick or two early on. And I'm wondering here, when does the next kill come in? When does the avalanche begin that leads us towards a round end?
Well, that's the question, because we really do feel like we're waiting at the minute, and Harper, he gets the slightest of glimpses and he finds the kill onto Shaiko. Wonderful from Harper there to level things up 4-4, and 30 seconds left to go. Des, I'm wondering if this BDS collapse is ever going to come. They've got Cloud9 surrounded. They've had them there for the last minute and a half, but Renshiro, once again, just firing up that BDS machine and pushing them forward as Brede finds 2 onto Envy Taylor and Shayo. It is all down to Harper now. 1 versus 3. He's in a tough situation, and Renshiro does him somewhat of a favour by taking him out of that situation, Des, but not the way that he might have wanted.
Outgunned, outmanned as that round wore on. BDS always at a numbers advantage, and 2 massive kills coming out for Brede just to help shut things down there. It looked like the kind of round that you expect coming into this game where, sure, Cloud9 might give BDS a little bit of trouble along the way, but ultimately it's going to be BDS with more than enough time to make the play happen. And that, by the way, from Renshiro, the straight pre-fire of which the player has stepped back into. Unfortunate, these things happen, but for BDS, given they started and chose to start, as a reminder, on attack here, being 2-1 up, absolutely not a bad start.
Great start for them, as you say, and just it's largely coming down to Renshiro at the minute, and he's a player that I've lauded for the longest time, Des. You know, I've said time and time again that Renshiro is just a dependable player, such a solid player, and he will come through and take you over the line if the rest of the team are struggling. He really does contribute massively. Today, yes, it's in terms of kills. It's not always the case. He is there, the linchpin for this team, doing whatever is needed.
And that's the thing. I think, look back to last year, and it was basically Renshiro's year. I think probably 18 months ago, you'd have looked at BDS and said, oh, it's Team Shaiko. He's the one that everyone else wants to back up, who's going to do all the hard lifting for them. Over the last year, we've seen that change. Brede, with a 2.0 rating in Stage 1, or just above. Shot a release in the first 5 play days, I think it was. Did kind of quieten down after that, but my God, was he a menace in those first few weeks. Shaiko sort of went quiet for a short while Lems had a few good games, and Renshiro, he really took the biscuit last year. MVP of the major, I believe, of Stage 1 overall. Really stepped into his own here, and I think, again, we said the other day, looking at this, the lowest rated player on this team is Brede, and you would never look at Brede and say, that's a bad support player. The dude has got a laser beam in his hands when he's picking up that SMG, well renowned for his smoke play, and more often than not you expect to see the support player being a bit lower down in ratings anyway, but to still be at 1.08 and that being your lowest as a team speaks volumes for just how good this BDS side is.
That's it. You know, ultimately it's very important that we remember that Siege is a team game. It is about having players that can function not only within their own role, which may be fragging, maybe not, they may be contributing elsewhere, but it's also about that flexibility, able to support others, able to take on those mantles when players die, and that is something that BDS for me excel at. They are one of the best teams in the world when we look at their composition and their ability to adapt and to play flexibly. That is one of their major strengths, but unfortunately for the rest of the world, Des, it's only one strength that stacks up against a lot of other strengths as well that BDS find, and that is what leaves them in one of the top favourite spots for the SI this year.
What I will give to Cloud9 is you've seen already in this round 2 or 3 members poking their heads up above the bottom floor just to try and catch out a drone or 2, and they have killed at this point 4 of them. It's not a whole ton. In previous rounds, BDS were left with just 1 or 2 in the dying moments of a round, and a lot of that, I think, again, comes down to Cloud9 in the early round, picking up these drones when there is no one to be following them in. So it's nice to see Cloud9 doing what, you know, a lot of other teams have been doing around the world, trying to deal with that early intel and trying to starve BDS later into the round. Without a mute or a Mozzie, though, nothing really to slow them down once it does come around to thinking about a push on the site. This is, I think, fair to say, the most common spot for a Zofia on the game, pushing down blue here on Clubhouse, always looking to get those longer angles into the back of the bar and also to contest a Jaeger who may be playing behind the generator.
Shaiko looking to pressure the bottom of main stairs again. Didn't work out too well for him last time. It was his final resting place when Envy Taylor found a flurry of kills at the end of round 1. But this time he seems a little bit more secure, and this is all down to BDS still having the Maverick available, Des. Last time they lost it early on, whereas this time it's allowed them to play a much more normal play style for this site that we would expect to see out of the French team. And the first kill comes in onto Envy Taylor, but is traded out with one from Shayo. Oh, Oh, so close. Des Brede finds Rafal before he manages to get the kill onto Harper, meaning that is 1 for 1 on either side yet again. 3 versus 3. 18 seconds left to go, and this is going to be a bloodbath. Brede is on low health. He's got the wall open, but if he takes one lungful of that toxic gas, he's dead. And in fact, it's going to be the shotgun that finds him. Des sends him to meet his maker. That is 3 versus 2. Renshiro finds Shayal. He's there again for BDS.
What?
He's there again for BDS. Des Renshiro turns the round on its head once again.
They had nothing to do there except sit and wait and hide. Don't fight, don't peek, don't do anything. Just hold back. The diffuser is in Moto. They don't have it in their possession. There is no way they can win the round, but they take the 2 gunfights, and you see the outcome. Look, both still alive, both die at the same time to Shaiko and Renshiro. They should not be taking those gunfights, if at all possible. I'll give some lean towards Nova there, who was in Moto. You knew he was going to swing you, just weren't sure from which side. But to lose both of those gunfights at the 0-second mark, boys, you've got to be asking a question there. That should have been a C9 round.
It should have been, really. They had the advantages that they needed. But as you say, that's the difficulty with playing against a team like BDS. There's, we've got to give credit over to the BDS side, and they've pushed for those gunfights. They've been aggressive. They've moved forward. They've recognised very quickly that, this is the situation we're in. We have to find these kills. And I think, they've not really given Cloud9 much time to think about that before they're staring down the barrel of a gun. And they've moved in there quickly and decisively and taken the round. But like I said, Cloud9, I'm still painting a picture of positivity for them. It's been a difficult couple of rounds, but we've seen them take the first round. They're capable. They are fighting to the end. This is coming down to 1v1s, 2v2s that are all sort of just this big crescendo at the end of each round. And I still feel like there's an opportunity there for another round or 2 for Cloud9 on defense, and then we'll see what they can do on attack.
Well, hopefully with the aid of the tactical timeout, they've had a bit of a discussion here and know what needs to change. It has come close in a couple of these rounds, but BDS still just showing their superiority and why so many favour them here at SI as being maybe not even just grand finalists, but world champions come the end of it. Because the storyline that you and I have peddled all the way through is, if not now, when? You're on home turf. You are arguably in the best form you've ever been. You've stomped your way through the entire year in anything based in EU, outside maybe the November Major, of which, of course, we saw Empire walk away the winner. You've got the strongest lineup that you've ever had on this roster. Again, if not now, when?
Well, that's it. You look at this BDS side and, not just in terms of the roster. I'm not talking about roster at this point, but in terms of what they do and how they do it. And you think, how could they improve that? Where are these big gains to be found? If they are not the side to win the SI now, then where is that extra 5% that they need? Where do you find that from? Because looking at BDS, I'm not really sure, Des, because, they've got strengths all over the field. But right now, we are back to it. Round number 5, tactical timeout over. Let's see if Cloud9 have been able to do any significant work during that 30-second pause, just to try and steady the ship a little bit. We'll see if they can get themselves a round on the board here. They're going to be defending in CCTV and Cash. The Kaid Electricals going out on the catwalk, and you could be forgiven at home, Des, for thinking, why on earth are they putting the Kaid Electricals on the catwalk? And thank you, Easy. He shows us why. Because even when placed above on the catwalk, they will still electrify the garage doors that are underneath. They're obviously safer up there and more difficult for the attackers to take out. So for the time being, that's going to deny a little bit of access to lower garage. And quite often, teams like to breach those double garage doors or double garage walls, if you will, to try and get in underneath the catwalk. And then you can start putting things like nades up onto the catwalk and making it very difficult for this player to stay in position without exposing yourself too much. The last thing that really the last resort is pushing through that single garage door and causing yourself a massive headache as you funnel yourselves into a little bit of a kill box.
Of course, the one thing not to forget is that breaches do work both ways, as Lukid very kindly demonstrated on day number 1. Vaulted over the top of catwalk, killed 3 people while he was downstairs. It was unbelievable how much work he managed to do from there. For Rafal, it's going to be a straight up start, though, out towards Jacuzzi, while Shaiko taking a bit of an early engage and almost losing his life. Down to about 15 HP, I imagine Cloud9 could end up looking back at that and ruining the fact they didn't convert it into a kill.
nearly halfway through the round then. Renshiro's going to hold his angle there. He will watch that Nitro sail out harmlessly all day long. But what it does tell us is that Cloud9 is aware of Renshiro's presence out there on the CCTV window. It's one to watch out for as the game progresses. Now then, Alem's just trying to find a man from underneath with that nade, but will be unsuccessful. The battery will be replaced onto the construction wall. That's just going to hold up Brede for the time being, as he hasn't been able to get that exothermic charge off yet. Now then, we can see the Maverick comes in instead. If you want to apply your electrical, you want your bandit batteries on the wall, that's absolutely fine and not a problem for us. We will just bring the Maverick blowtorch, and I did say to watch out for him. There's Renshiro on the CCTV window. It's easy to forget about a man in that position as a defender, and when you try to move through CCTV, you can easily lose your life. Now Envy Taylor manages to trade that one back out. It's a late trade, but it's there nonetheless.
A bit of a late swing, but it's one that you want as well. Not even a late swing, a risky swing is the way I probably should describe that one, but it pays off for them now that that pressure is removed temporarily, because Shaiko's back there. Nice grenade from below, and Envy brought down, removed from the field, the only one so far to surpass 2 kills for the side of C9. You'd really want him in these kind of situations. Shaiko stepping out, a bit of a challenge onto Static, but he's getting domed in from behind by Alems, who's now taken into Garage, ridden off the back of the distraction coming in from the west, and they've got so much control, but he doesn't know about the guy in Lounge. It's Shyle stepping up, collecting his second kill. Plant is going down, one coming in from Nova, but they don't know about the plant, it seems, as Brede has got inside for construction. Plant's down on the ground, and they're back out of there. Brede taking a few lungfuls of smoke, finally put in the dirt. It's a 1 versus 2, but it's Shaiko, the last player. I said at the start of the round, Ace, you'd rue not killing him early. Will he convert it? No, he won't. Charles a little bit better here. A triple kill stepping in, and round number 5 going to go the way of Cloud9.
Great kill from Shyle there. We've got to point out Shaiko was on low health. It gave Shyle the advantage that he needed. Headshot, shoulder shot, chest shot, it didn't really matter. Any bullet would do, but he found the one that he needed. It allows Cloud9 to get in and disable that activated diffuser. A nice retake from them, Des. They were in a 2 versus 2. They didn't lose a man doing it, and that was the round for Shyle for me. That was what we wanted. That is breaking the seal, hopefully, and he's going to get up there, join Envy Taylor, and they can really start to power this Cloud9 side into this matchup.
It's where the best wins have come from historically, against like Giants, who have been their rivals for the longest time throughout 2020. Giants now, of course, playing in APAC South, so they only really see each other when it comes around to the playoffs at the end of the season. But it was always then going back and forth, and it was always on the backs of Envy and Charles doing wonders together. So like you say, I'm hoping that now translates into a bit more strength for this team moving forwards. Again, we can't ignore the fact that BDS opted to start on the defense here. You might be saying, oh, Cloud9 have got 2 rounds against BDS, sure, but wait until BDS get on the defense. What I like about BDS's defense on this map is they play it, well, I don't know if I like it, it's more an observation actually. They aren't a super heavy roam team on here. I've never seen them, I don't think, run the air quotes SSG roam where they'll take the Mute and the Mozzie to the top floor and they'll play spread out throughout the entire map. They are much more likely to hunker down on site, play behind something like a bandit, and give you real grief when you come to trying to execute. So I'm keen to see if they've shaped up anything different here once they get onto their defensive half. But for now, there is one more round of the defensive side for Cloud9 to finish and see if they can have a bit of a flourish and end at 3-3, or if BDS will overpower them and end 4-2.
Oh, it'd be massive, Des. It'd be massive if they could get this lockdown and just tie it up 3-3 coming into the second half. Now then, we've got Electroclaw's place once again on the bar hatch and the kitchen hatch, so we'll keep an eye. If that Maverick gets taken out, Des, then I want to know where that Electroclaw goes, although they've got nades on the side of Elems this time around as well. And of course, I suppose the breaching charges from Ash could do a similar job. That could be the answer, Des, to that mystery Electroclaw problem from round number 1. If Shaiko was at the bottom of main stairs...
Didn't they reduce the range on it, though?
There is an angle for a breaching charge into Moto from there.
There is. I'm just not convinced it'd reach high enough to destroy the Electroclaw.
Maybe not.
There's definitely an angle for Shaiko to destroy Harper, though. He's gone.
That much is for sure.
Yeah.
5 versus 4 as BDS find that opener. Shaiko getting aggressive. We've seen it from him all game, really.
Oh, I don't think he knew he just hit Envy.
I don't think he does. Alems with a quick spray down through the softball there. Does find a couple of shots, a little bit of chip damage onto the Mozzie of Envy Taylor. And a little bit more as Envy Taylor turns tail and gets himself out of there. Absolutely right decision. Just leave yourself to fight later in the round. Play your life as best you can. Get onto site and beat another gun for the late round. But that is a very quick clearance, Des, from BDS. Almost only 1 minute into the round and they've got complete mid-floor control.
I know what C9 stands for now. Cat 9 lives. He's walking away with them. Twice he's almost been gunned down there, and across these rounds we've seen quite a few members walking away, limping back to site, not quite in healthy state, but still alive, and it feels like Envy has got off very, very fortunate there to be sprayed at twice and not go down in either case. We touched on Shaiko in the previous round, that they might rue leaving him alive in that 1 versus 2, but fortunately Shyle was just a little bit better in that head-to-head engagement. We'll see if the same rings true for Envy later in this round.
Renshiro just going to think about opening that floor up on the book. Just pings coming out to highlight the position of the default cam for him so he can take that out from above. We've got Rafal working on the hatches. And this is the big problem with how for Cloud9 days, with how quick that roam clearance has been from BDS. They've got an age of time. So they start getting hatches open. You know, ideally you want this to be 20 or 30 seconds left realistically as a defender before these hatches are being opened. You want to burn as much time as you can, but with them open, BDS are going to have a good 45 seconds to a minute of pressure to apply to Cloud9 here, and it is not going to be easy now. Shyle playing games with the drone there. It hadn't spotted him initially, and he was just very closely watching it. As soon as he saw those lights, he knew that he had to take it down, but we saw great use of that kind of, you know, ignoring the drone. There's Shyle here. Shaiko has no idea. He's dropped in there completely blind as Shyle had been picked up on a drone only moments before. They've got to be aware there's something in that area, but it doesn't matter to Shyle as he finds the other gunner. Elem's shut down. However, Rafal, he manages to find one on the Maverick. 5 seconds left to go, 3-3, but the kills come in for Cloud9 once again. They're going to do it, Des. They're going to level it up at the half, 3-all.
Shyle does it all. 3 kills in the round, the same in the previous. That's what you want to see. And I think what must have happened with that drone there, they got it in place behind the generator, got off it to start moving, and it got shot out, they assumed, by someone playing on AKs, for example. But no, it was Shyle playing inside a blue, who then pulled back down to oil. Shaiko had zero idea what was going on. Some wicked shots landed by Sati towards the end of it. Shyle, sorry, towards the end of it. And it turned once again into this bloodbath at the bottom of main stairs. I think they must have got to that spot. They were like, oh man, I'm not going to say the word, here we go again. They knew they were stepping into a slaughterhouse there at the bottom of the main stairs. And for Cloud9 to get 3 rounds, not too bad. But for BDS, I'd say, walking away with 3 attacking rounds, they'll be more than happy with that, because now they get to step onto the defense.
Shyle, just fantastic play there. As I said, we saw him in round 5, had that big round 2v2, he managed to get the kills, and it just felt like the seal was broken for him, and we were going to see Shyle just really growing into this game, and that's exactly what has just happened there. I absolutely adore that kill onto Elem's. There's what a find through the pipe work, and just absolutely deleting Elems from the game there. Absolutely wonderful. Shyle finds himself 7-4, Envy Taylor 8-4. If they can just squeeze a little bit more out of Static and Nova, particularly here. Harper, of course, coming in on the support. He has other important work to do, but if they can just get that extra little bit, Des, maybe that's what gives them the advantage here.
It's going to be the same story for Nova. I think he's taking up Rafal's role on the Maverick. Was their support for the longest time worth mentioning? Wasn't really of great note in 2020. But then in Charles' absence, when he went quiet in stage 1, it was Nova who stepped up and filled in the slack. Did a lot of work for Cloud9, got them to the top. Uncontested, I think it's fair to say. There were very few teams that could really contest them in APAC North in the last season. Let's see how things progress, though. Again, for BDS, not really a team to play this heavy roaming setup. Instead of taking a lot of site-based operators here, looking towards Brede on that ever-present smoke that he absolutely adores so much. But Cloud9 still doing their due diligence here and looking to clear the entirety of the map, just in case BDS are bringing along a surprise or two here at SI.
Just need to be careful, make sure that they don't burn too long doing it. As you say, it's not really expected from BDS to be too far out into the map on this site, so I think it's a case of, you know, once you've got your top floor, you think, right, that's it now, we need to push down, we need to get this moving, and that looks like what Cloud9 are doing as Envy Taylor drops the hatch down to the pool table and looks to get himself established in bar. He's just going to reclaim that drone, so he's got it for use later on, and we'll put the breaching charges to use to start opening up the floor and get those vertical angles downstairs. We're coming up to the halfway mark, and I like what I'm seeing from Cloud9 so far. There's reasonable progress. They just need to get those hatches open and then start thinking about the execution onto site.
It's interesting how they brought along 3 hard breaches, by the way. I know we didn't talk about this earlier on, but I don't know if that's we want to open so much that we need all 3, or if there's a lack of confidence maybe stepping in and thinking, well, just in case one of us does die early, it gives us that insurance in the same way that BDS learned the lesson of having Rafal die early, how much it cost them in one of their defensive rounds earlier on. They're trying to get this opened up, and that first one I think was a little bit whiff. The second one is going to do the job though and get things opened up. That's how you can deal with the electrified hatches with the ace. maybe that's why they wanted all three.
Well, it was fascinating because obviously it does take two Selmas to open up a hatch. Ace can only open up one hatch. He's got 3 in total, so once 2 of them are used, it doesn't allow him enough to open a second hatch. But what they did there was apply them to the soft floor around the hatch, which is what we've seen from Thermite as well. It is a way of avoiding the Kaid electrical, so that is why they were doing that. So long as the Selma arms do sort of hit the hatch, then
tickle the hatch.
Exactly that. It's absolutely fine. So that is kitchen hatch sorted, but right now, BDS, they're looking reasonably comfortable, Des. Well,
Cast the curse.
Right, perfectly timed there as we see one down. Harper Child, they're getting on the action. Lems and Breedy, they go by the wayside. Rafal somehow gets picked up in the midst of the chaos, Des, but Harper, he's getting that diffuser down. Important play from the support player there, takes his advantage, an opportunity, and gets it activated. 40 seconds left, and it's all down to Renshiro. Shut down by Child.
4 kills for Charles. That's a 3K, a 3K, and a 4K back-to-back. The man says, I see you, Shaiko. I got something else to raise. There's a new cowboy in town here, and my God, is he doing work the last few rounds. That's going to be Cloud9 pulling into the lead, 4-3. We said coming into it, this was both of their home maps, and there is no reason to say for Cloud9 that they wouldn't be comfortable coming into this map. Got to give credit to Charles, though. I know we keep on shouting out his name, but he burst into blue there, and BDS just didn't seem to expect it because all of the attention, the nades, the vertical angles, they were all inside a kitchen or the hallway. No one was keeping an eye on blue. They were all distracted thinking Cloud9 were going for a very one-dimensional push, and that's when you're most prone to being flanked and stabbed in the back by Shile.
And this is, the picture that we painted coming in, Des. It was the fact that Cloud9, they have everything to play for here. They need to keep themselves in this tournament, whereas BDS, they're already locked into the playoffs. They know that they are safe in that position, and it is going to factor in to the performances somewhat.
You know how we were talking the other day? There's a tweet coming in there. Who's this from? I missed it. Never mind. Sorry, mate. Can't read your tweet out this time around. I like reading those just so everyone gets their recognition. We were speaking the other day around how, for Cloud9, they were, what, plus 29 on entry? They were absolutely doming everyone when it came to entry, but couldn't close rounds. In this game, they are down 6-1 on the entry. BDS are
They figured the secret. They found the secret.
Just stop killing
getting
people.
Entry kills and win rounds. That's what it's all about.
Unless it's the Maverick on a map where Thatcher is banned, in which case, fair enough, it kind of stands a test of time. But to have lost in the last 6 rounds every single entry fight and still come out on top, whew. Let's go, boys. We're making it competitive. That's what we want to see.
We've got Frost on the board, which is always a tantalising prospect. Renshiro has got those Frost mats down all along those south-sided windows for anybody trying to hop in and take control over Master and Bedroom side. But for the time being, C9 paying immediate attention to the East Breach. We'll see whether they choose to go for both sides or not. They can just take out the East Breach and work from Garage and East side, or they could take the construction wall. Now, it looks like there may be some attention paid towards that construction side as Envy Taylor tries to open up the hot tub wall, but will meet a mute jammer. There is a BDS player over on that side of the map as well that is going to try to just hold them off, get aggressive directly in their face. It's poised for a good round, this Des. I think Cloud9 are going to try to encircle BDS, and they're going to really try to squeeze them back into sight.
I would say for this site, you want control of one of the 3 kind of compass directions, where you either have the East Breach, you have Construction Wall, and you have Garage. Maybe you throw Red in there if you really want to as well. But you need at least 2 of them to make and execute work. You get the East Breach and you get Garage. You're going to go for a default plant behind the server stack inside of the B side. You get Construction and the East Breach. You've kind of got choices there. You can go for A or B. More often than not, you'll see a bit of a blitz attempt try to come through as they push their way in from construction, hold those longer angles. Makes it very restrictive for the defenders to be able to play inside of sight. And for now, with the spread coming in from the East Breach being opened up, or at least attempted initially by the Maverick, and then everyone rotating over towards construction, it does sound like it is going to be more towards the latter.
Construction wall being left soft by BDS allows Static to open it up reasonably easily from Master with the Ash Breach in charge. He's going to rotate through to Logistics where Nova joins in with the diffuser, so the pressure is going to come from Construction here, Des. That is where the plant is likely to go down. Now then, Shaiko steps out and gets a kill, but Static is on Overwatch and manages to trade that out immediately. Something else that Cloud9 have done very well so far this game, Des, is to get those trades and keep themselves level. I've been very impressed with that from them so far. 45 seconds left to go, and things must be feeling a little tight for BDS here. There's not much room for movement.
That had to be a conscious call by Shaiko, knowing that there was a very good chance if a Maverick is just outside the room you're in and is opening a wall that you're going to peek him. He must have known someone was there ready to take the trade, which they were. It brings him down, but you then remove the blowtorch, you remove the frag grenades. To him, that feels like a very worthwhile trade. When, you know, Renshiro is still alive, he's been doing a lot of work in this game, and speak of the devil, he steps up and brings down Harper from the top of red.
Rafal will be downed though, so the pressure mounting.
Oh, Shyle!
Click from Shyle once again.
Oh, the double!
But shut down by Brede before he can confirm that kill onto Rafal. But right now, Des, it's 1 versus 2 effectively. As Rafal is down, Envy Taylor starts to get this diffuser down. If he's denied, it will be round over as the clock ticks away. There we go. Brede wins the round with a nitro from Lounge, and that just shows why you have to keep control of that area, because it can be lethal.
Another really close round, but when you look at it on paper, you'd probably say Cloud9 had a good chance of winning that one. I think as soon as Shyle died in Garage and they knew that Brede ran down red to get that spray down, that's when they're saying, oh crap, there's a guy with a C4 who's now got total liberty over Lounge. No one is contesting him on the downstairs. He's going to get away with denying us here. So they had to try and play the mind game. It's why you saw Envy step off the diffuser once and move to a different location. But Brede was just ready. Static, I think, was expecting a challenge in from red. Maybe they didn't know there was a C4 on side. Who knows?
Round number 9, then we go into 4-0, and Cloud9 certainly making a game out of this one. They're not giving BDS any easy starts to the day. BDS with a win here would secure themselves top 4 and an upper bracket spot. So Cloud9, they're looking to spoil that party for the home team at the minute. And BDS, they're struggling to find the answers, Des. It was a good round there, a good close-out for Brede to get that vertical denial, but there was still a real opportunity for Cloud9 to win that. If only they'd picked the plant spot differently, got up on top of one of those tables, then that is a different story.
I did think he maybe could have run into Cash, especially if Static was holding the angle, but I think they were so...
There was 5 seconds.
I think they were just so fearful that he was going to be on red, and if you kill Static, they lose the round anyway, so you take the chance of, yes, he's on red, at least then we've got more time and safety inside of Cash. Whatever. I think the nice thing this shows in the last couple of rounds is Cloud9 have been really competitive when it comes to their attacks. First one, relatively convincing, with Shyle going nuts. That last round, left in a 2 versus 1. Clock already wasn't their friend at the end of that one as well. Didn't know maybe there was a C4 in the hands of Brede. These things happen. But if nothing else, it shows. And dare I say it, Ace, we might be careering towards another overtime.
See, I thought about saying it, Des. I thought about saying it, but I thought
you told me to calm down yesterday.
No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to push us to another overtime game here. I think I've not done. It's one of the stats I haven't done, Des, and I'm sure somebody might at some point for us, or I'll have a look. I think we may be the casting pair that have had the most overtime.
It feels like it, because yesterday in SSG Parabellum, when it was 4-2 to Parabellum, we were like, oh. Nah, I was like, maybe it goes overtime. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Des. And before you know it, it's a 15-round screamer.
Well, I mean, on day 1, all 3 games, when we had 44 out of 45 possible rounds on day 1. We had absolutely everything. But we've got more rounds to be played here. Let's bring us back to the present. And we are 4-4 on the scoreboard. 1 minute into the round, and we've got BDS defending gym and bedroom. Now then, that is interesting from Alems on the Malusi, all the way down in basement. Looking to keep himself playing underneath, I would imagine, for as long as possible here, because he's going to be looking for the exact same as what Brede has just done there, and that is the opportunity should Cloud9 be able to get in and start putting that diffuser down. Malusi able to use that nitro from underneath to deny that plant opportunity.
They're going to be so worried, because I'm not even aware of Alems, who was hanging out towards Lounge. He knew someone was outside the front door for a while, so I think he backed away there. Didn't want to get peeked, for example, as he was going for a kill. Knew that his rotate angle would be cut off, but may look to step back out again later. C4 comes out, a few bullets also follow through, and Envy's lucky to still have his life, but they should be able to force Brede out of bathroom. That's a very critical angle to have opened up, and they've done it with pretty good time left here, about 70 seconds still on the clock. Oh, okay, nice try. Fair play.
Gets that down, Shaiko. Envy Taylor finding a headshot there and then just casually collecting the diffuser afterwards. He's like, yep, I'll take that kill, I'll take that briefcase. Let's get this round moving, and that is the opener for Cloud9, but it is levelled up pretty quickly by Brede as he finds Harper. I think his work has largely been done on the thermite, Des, but Brede is going absolutely wild here, and Alems, he makes his presence known in the round. We said early on he was trying to just keep himself off the radar, but he got himself back up on the flank. Nova is getting the flank down though. Static.
Oh, he's down.
But no, he was shut down, and the round is finished off by Rafal and Renshiro, and BDS once again take the lead. This is back and forth, Des.
It felt like maybe we'd have quite a good end-round scrap there in the 4 versus 4, but once Envy and Shyle died there in those kind of dying seconds, it was about 30 seconds before, it was in the spot where you're in a 4 versus 2. It was going to be very, very tough for Nova and Static to be able to pull that one off. Shoiko's really enjoying these aggressive swings today, it's worth mentioning. We touched on one a couple of rounds ago, and it happens again just there. Maybe a little bit over-aggressive from Shyle to go careering into the CC window, hoping to bring down a Lems who was holding nearby, but they did need to remove him. If he was in control of CC window, they could not play on that south balcony, and that gym hop-in was never going to happen. So good scraps taking place all around the map all at once. It's what we love to see. 5-4 to BDS. They are back in the lead after Cloud9 was sat at 4 and 3. Is this where they push it on Ace and get 2 more rounds back-to-back and see this one ending 7 and 4?
Anything is possible, Des, right now. Anything is possible inside of this matchup. It's really hanging by a thread at the minute for BDS. They are being pushed at the distance by Cloud9, something that I'm sure one or two maybe less familiar with the APAC region might not have expected, but believe me, Cloud9 are an extremely capable team. They are very, very good week in, week out inside of the APAC region, and I wouldn't be surprised to see, Des, when they get themselves through to playoffs, which it looks like they will probably do today, if we're honest. They're a point clear of Cyclops and G2. They've got some tough games. Cloud9 actually play them later on. So for me,
that's going to be spicy.
I'm gonna throw it down and I say I think Cloud9 get through to playoffs when it all shakes down. I'd be very surprised.
I really hope so.
I do too, and I'd be very surprised to see this team go home at the first hurdle, I'll be honest. I think they could be, as we've seen Fnatic in previous years do, get into the playoffs with little expectation then ahead of them, and I think we could see an upset or two from Cloud9. I really do.
I predicted a couple today, I think. I've actually got them down to beat G2 later.
I mean, you predict Cloud9 to win every single game that they play, Des, because you love them.
Someone's got to balance things out here, because all Ollie does, XR Troika, is predict Latam to win. Every game, without fail.
See, I try to spread my love evenly.
I'm sure you've got Cloud9 down for a game or two today
I think I have. I'm just going to take a quick look, Des, as we talk, and I do really try to spread it around as best I can.
Share the love.
The thing is, I just love Siege, and I do love the teams from all over the world. I've got Cloud9 to beat G2 and Dark Zero, to be fair. I've got them down for 2 games today.
Ollie just popped up between our curtains and flipped the bird at me. He made that comment, I think, through the other side of the curtains. As he's standing around ready for his cast that kicks off soon as well, I believe, in the next game. Either way, round number 10. First kill coming out. Envy as well. Worth noting as well, in the previous round, it was actually Cloud9 who got the opener, went on to lose the round. Here we're back to normal business where BDS find the opener. Does that correlate to a Cloud9 win? We'll find out.
It's one hard breach down, but that shouldn't really be the end of the world, Des. They've still got Harper on the Thermite, 1 spare exothermic. They've still got Nova on the Maverick, so it shouldn't be the end of the world. I think Envy Taylor was slated to get in there and get that kitchen hatch open, but it will be possible for somebody else. But they still need to be careful of Nitros, Des. There's one in the hands of Rafal, and it's always a dangerous area to operate in his kitchen because the entire floor is destructible. Renshiro, he's having an absolute field day here on Clubhouse. Gets his 12th kill of the game there, bringing things to 5 versus 3. And BDS, they are looking like they're in the driving seat. There's the careening towards a match point opportunity.
Swinging onto the hatch as soon as Nova opened it. It was big, goes for a second onto Harper this time. They're just lining up like ducks at a carnival, one after another. Shoko goes big, 2 versus 5 for Cloud9. It feels like we're heading in towards match point now, Ace. And it's between Static and Harper. I think this one's a little bit too much to do. They find one, with 40 seconds still to play with. There's every opportunity to make it happen, but they are going to have to hit shots like the ones they haven't been hitting all game long.
34 seconds left to go. Static looking to make an impact from the main stairs, and he does. He does, Des. He makes an impact on Lems as he finds the kill, but Breede's there to trade it out from the dirt tunnel. He gets the second, and Breede with the kill onto Harper takes BDS onto 6, and they, in the last couple of rounds, have looked much more convincing than they have throughout the rest of this match.
You get real nervous when Cloud9 bring back 2 kills and think, surely someone's going to do something special on BDS, and they forget about the player. Maybe didn't have the resource to focus on him. Breede sat inside the dirt tunnel, peeks out at the right time, finds the 2 kills that they need. Well played for BDS, and they are at 6 and 4 for Cloud9. Now you're starting to see the difference, I think, where that gap is slowly starting to increase. Again, great signs for the APAC team, and we've got confidence they might be able to achieve something later. But here for BDS, this is where they really should put the pedal to the metal and close the game out 7-4.
It is still possible for Cloud9 here. The problem for them, Des, is there are no more mistakes left now. There is no more opportunity, no more margin for error. They have to come in and take the next 2 rounds. The pressure is on. And of course, as we said, Cloud9, although it seems likely that they go through, in my opinion, they are still fighting for their position here in Six Invitational today. There is plenty of opportunity for the teams below and around them to overtake them. So they're going to be fighting hard here. They want to get points on the board. I'm sure mentally it's not going to be a big blow. You lose to BDS, you lose to BDS. Everybody loses to BDS. It's absolutely fine. It's another one of those rites of passage, Des. We've got being slammed by Ness.
Slammed by Joystick, slammed by BDS as a team. Who else? Or what else comes into it?
It's another one of those rites of
slammed by Parabellum. It's a new right at SI 2021.
It certainly is. But I think coming into today, Cloud9 would have looked at their games and they'd have thought, you know what, this is the one really where we possibly take a loss. We need to find points from the others, but it will still be firmly in their mind that this would be a great foundation to start things on, to get that point immediately on the board. Now, we are heading up to the top floor this time. CCTV and Cash, Rafal just planting that evil eye there up over the default plant spots, but also it gets a very nice line of sight as through that construction wall all the way into master bedroom, and it is going to feed an awful lot of information into BDS later in the round.
I've never seen a wall that teams have done so many different things with. Some have random little shotgun holes so you can't put a breach on it, for example, very easily. You have to bring an Asher or Zofia. I was for a second thinking there's going to be a mad burst in from those two, but I'm really glad there wasn't. They're both kind of geared up towards one side. I was getting a little bit excited, but thank God there wasn't. Speaking of that wall, some teams will reinforce both. Others will put a rotate hole through it. Some, like BDS have done in this round, have actually opened up just like an impact-shaped hole to use more as a stand out and shoot. The only disadvantage that gives you is the attackers get control of it. They can crouch underneath that across the larger window, and you have no idea they're going through that kind of setup. Either way, let's see how things shape up there. No one's died early on. Good news for Cloud9 and their hopes of staying relevant in this game. Shot on the longer angle. I remember seeing not too long ago a road game actually where Aces swung from red onto that angle and domed. I think it was Prano from Secret who was lying down in those rafters, and I was like, how on earth have you hit that?
Shaco just playing in his common spot inside of CCTV here, gets himself a couple of ADSs and a deployable shield, and he's there to just prevent too much access coming in from that breach. But the thing is, the work is being done anyway because Shio's just got an alternative angle there, and what he's looking to do is just prevent any movement from Cash into CCTV, but also to just get himself a cheap pick if the opportunity is there through that soft wall into Cash. So he's going to hold that angle for a while here. Static losing hit points, as we saw this last time, Des. It was Shaco last time around who dived out of that door and got himself a kill, and BDS challenging the same angle once again, but it's going to be Harper to clear out Shaco off that CCTV to Cash door, so that does start to open things up because it means that Cloud9 can now approach the East breach quite safely.
Absolutely. You still got Charles, I think, holding the long angle. He's being so patient here, just waiting for someone to get moved by his team. And this is the thing. You rely on pressure from your teammates here to make the defenders squirm and get them moving. I think what happened there was Shaco tried to run down towards the south, and Harper, who was outside, managed to catch him on that move down. Either that or Shaco did Shaco things and took a challenge. I'm not entirely sure.
Nova taking a little bit of damage there, and it's starting to wear on Cloud9. We can see that there are hit points being chipped away, operator after operator. They still have control over Catwalk, which could be dangerous, but Static manages to get the kill onto 11. Rafal's going to be key here, Des. He's on the Catwalk and can deny a plant. He has to move in. He is shut down, and Cloud9 force BDS to move around inside of sight. They take advantage of every footfall, every step that they take to find kills, and they get themselves to 6-5 on the scoreboard, Des. This is it. This could be the round that takes us to overtime.
Hands up, who didn't expect a flawless round in round 11? Absolutely me. That was crazy. I thought we got towards the 20-second mark and thought, well, there's no real need for BDS to move here because the pressure from Cloud9, relatively limited. Just let that clock run down towards 0. Maybe play for the C4 again with Brede, but he died in that final 2 versus 5 quite early on. So I was like, that's really not going to work. That's why the Maestro got forced to take the engage. One of those rounds where you look at it and just go, okay, lightning doesn't strike twice, surely, but it's 6-5. Cloud9 may be about to send us into overtime, Ace.
I just want to point out for everybody at home that won't have seen that there, because obviously we're not on camera at the minute, but Des did actually put his hand up as well when he asked himself the question. And I'm here for it. I love that energy. He's really backing himself into that question.
The small things.
It's the small things. So 6-5, we head into round 12 at the end of what has been an absolute thriller here on Clubhouse so far between BDS and Cloud9. Cloud9, the APAC team, looking to come in here and cause a big upset at the start of day 5 in Group A, and boy will it mix the pack up. It will shuffle the deck, Des, if they can get a win here.
Oh, you just live for it. The upsets that we've had yesterday, I said
honestly, I'm all about it.
Coming in today, we said we needed to see Group A spice things up a bit, because the day yesterday, I think I said it at the time, this will go down as, well, yesterday would have gone down as one of the best group stage SIs, like days we've ever seen. Anything that wasn't a grand final or a semi-final or whatever, in my mind, even though it's best of ones, people will look at that and say, oh, well, best of threes are more accurate, whatever, shut up. It's all about the best of ones this week, and yesterday was an absolute belter. So many games you could go back and watch and just get hyped for, because it's been so enthralling to watch. Today could prove to be the same if this goes to overtime. We all want to see it, I think. Many in the chat again will be crying over the lack of channel points they'll be holding after this game, because you look at this on paper and again say BDS potential finalists, no way they lose to Cloud9, even if they are the #1 APAC team.
Yeah, I've got to pile on to what you say there, Des. I think the format's been fantastic.
I love it.
All these different games, you know, in previous years at SI, and it's always been enjoyable, but in previous years we've had them broken down into smaller groups, so you may see your team go up against only 3 others, you know, if they don't make it through. But having this where you're going up against 8, 9 other teams, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. I have loved it. And the rapid-fire nature of the best of ones, that you've just got result after result and the tables are switching around, it's been very entertaining. But entertaining is what's on screen right now. We're coming up towards the halfway mark. We've got another slow start to the round where we are 5 versus 5. Cloud9, they're on the attack. They are pushing to Gym and Bedroom. If you remember last time around, they almost got the plant down, Des, but they were unable to. Static, he's got that nade. He's not going to find Brede from underneath. Instead, he clears out near the gym corner.
Yeah, I wonder what he was going for there, if it was a kill or whether it was just to get rid of the utility. But like in the previous round, it is going to be that utility stacked up inside a bathroom. And I think that's why Brede's opted this round not to play inside bathroom. He knew that he got forced out very early. Keep an ADS, take the shields with you, and just sit outside instead, which is where he's holding out now. Looking towards the drones coming in though inside the gym just screams to me that they're thinking about this execute. And I don't know if it's a conscious choice, maybe because Envy isn't over there at this moment in time. They're not opening up the bathroom wall just yet. I think that will come through, but they could leave it closed and use it as a safe angle of passage potentially.
Envy Taylor joining the push from the hot tub wall then. There's 3. I'm always that's exactly why, because he wants to open that bathroom wall. He's going to open it wide open, but I'm always concerned when teams stack up too heavily on this hot tub wall, Des, because as I've said, there's only so many angles to watch. There's only so many guns that can be put to use at once from one location, and we do see team kills from time to time where people cross over each other. We'll see how that goes, but for now, yes, they've moved one off. He's going to look to push it onto the gym window probably, so that is good. It's only 2. No, there's still 3 there from Cloud9. Pushing in from the hot tub wall. They are looking to get themselves inside here, Des, and this is the problem. Renshiro finds the kill. Shaiko would have done if he didn't, and the kills continue to find for BDS as we've got 14 seconds left to go. There's a man stuck inside a bathroom. Shaiko's just walking around site at will, but shut down. Here it goes, Des. Nobody knows how this one finishes. Envy Taylor tries to get the diffuser down on the ground. There's nobody there to deny it.
Got down Envy.
Trying, but it will be successful. The Yokai was too late, Des, but everybody's
down.
BDS have picked up the kills as Cloud9 tried to scramble themselves to safety. The Yokai drone was just too late to deny the plant, but it doesn't matter as Brede gets in there, disables that activated diffuser, and it's going to be all smiles for BDS, Des, but it very nearly wasn't.
Very, very nearly wasn't. That could have gone to overtime, and part of me really wishes that it had, but BDS in the final round show that they can deal with these later round executes. The Yokai, half a second too late, but you're not going to cry when they can step in and pick up kills the way that they did. If nothing else, I'm excited to see what else Cloud9 can do today, because if you're Dark Zero and G2 have had a really shaky group stage so far, you look at these teams and I think you say, right, Clubhouse, definitely not a one that we're going to let Cloud9 go to.
I'd be worried about playing Cloud9. I absolutely would. If I was Dark Zero or G2 coming into today needing wins to keep myself in the fight, especially when Cloud9 are one of the teams that you could be fighting against, I'd be looking at those games thinking, this could be dangerous for us.
It could. And now that you can actually see me on screen, hands up if you thought this was going to go to 7-5. If you didn't raise your hand or you did raise it at home, you are a liar. It was a close game, but BDS walk away with the win in our first game of the day. Let's go to a break, and when we come back, our analysts are going to break it down for you.